ruthless maniac is out hunting. Can the psychic stop the serial killer? Don't miss out. The clairvoyants will come to the den of the beast. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a channel of true, shocking stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants unravel mysterious paranormal phenomena and solve resonant criminal cases. Terrified residents of one of the Ukrainian towns are asking the psychics for help. The people want the clairvoyants to investigate the murder of a 13-year-old boy. All his neighbors knew and liked Stas Boyko. But somebody knocked the boy on his head, strangled and undressed him, and then threw the body into a river.
He was buried on his 14th birthday.
The tragedy occurred during the summer vacation. Stas left his home at midday, telling his mom he was going to see his friend Vlad. However, he never made it there. When the boy didn't come back home when he was supposed to, his mother started dialing his mobile. But the phone was off. The family got worried. All the neighborhood went to search for the boy.
2 local fishermen found the boy's body in the river the next day.
I saw it over there where the stick is sticking out. There was a human body floating.
The teenage boy's skull was broken in several places, and there was a trace of a rope on his neck. The forensics concluded that Stas died in the afternoon of the same day he disappeared.
The boy's clothes were never found. The police searched the area around the river but didn't find anything.
Most likely, the killer took the victim's clothes because he thought there might be biological traces on them.
But who and why murdered the 13-year-old boy? Where did Stas meet his murderer? And how did his body end up in the river 5 kilometers away from his home?
The local investigators passed the case onto the regional prosecutor's office. It is very strange. As a rule, highly important cases, such as those involving serial killers or pedophile maniacs, go further.
2 of the most powerful psychics of the project, Kayal Alekperov and Yana Pasinkova, take up the investigation into Stas Boyko's death. I see 2 girls. They look alike, like they're sisters. They have fair hair and pretty faces. One of them says, "Find 2 masks." One of them cries, and the other laughs. The murderer hides behind them.
I feel the smell of burning, like a bonfire. The murderer could possibly be connected with fire.
My gins are also showing me fire, and in it, there's the burning letter B. Or it might be the Cyrillic V. Is it possible that the murderer's name begins with it? Stas's mother and aunt, whose name is also Oksana, are waiting in front of the house in which the boy lived. Their neighbors are also there. Hello.
Hello?
Hello? Thank you for coming. I want to know who killed my son and why they did it.
Stas. He's pulling you by your coat like this. Mom, I wasn't supposed to pass away. You can't live without me. I know it's hard for you.
Stas was the eldest among the 6 children in the family. His father is always at work, so the boy was his mother's right hand.
He always tried to help.
He said, "I want my mom and dad to be proud of me." And he always did everything. He helped her a lot.
The entire town was shocked to learn of the boy's death. His mother even developed problems with the skin of her face because of the stress. People can't understand who and why murdered the 13-year-old teenager so brutally.
A man takes something from him, and I hear a phrase, "If I lose it, Mom's going to kill me."
He took my phone. My husband bought it for me as a present.
The attacker took away the phone from your son, but it wasn't his main goal. I can't see his true motive yet. Yana, we need to see the place where Stas's body was found. The boy was still alive when he was here. He was murdered right in this place. The man, the murderer, had been watching him from the moment he left home, and then he knocked him on his head. He strangles the boy, undresses him, and throws his body in the river. And he takes boy's clothes away. To know who and why killed Stas, we needed to contact the boy's spirit.
The kitten appeared out of nowhere. It was so unexpected. Nobody knew where it came from.
I'm still astonished.
This is the boy's soul. The spirit is showing me the murderer. It's a man of average height. He's short-haired, and his hairline is receding. And now your son's spirit says, look, I'm not alone. There's one more spirit. It's a young woman.
There was a young woman of 21 who was killed a month before Stas.
During the Kupala night.
Dasha was murdered first, and then was Stas.
It's horrifying. Another bloody murder in such a short period of time. Yana, Dasha is pointing at her head. She was murdered in the same manner as Stas. She was knocked on her head.
Yes, but she wasn't strangled. That's the only difference.
The young woman's name was Dasha Ozarko. A month before her death, she graduated from a college and started working at one of the banks in the town. On the day of her murder, Dasha, Ala, and Ala's boyfriend went to the park to celebrate the Kupala night.
We went there at about 8 in the evening. We stopped to talk to the people we knew, but most of the time there were just 3 of us.
Ala, as far as I understand, you and Dasha separated before she was attacked.
I went to dance to the last song, but when I came back, Dasha was nowhere to be found. I dialed her, and we heard her phone ringing.
Dasha's phone ringtone came from the bushes.
I didn't recognize her immediately because she was all bloodied. The clothes, I only recognized her by the clothes.
According to Ala, she and her boyfriend found Dasha's body on the side of the path, along which people were walking. Given the fact that her mobile wasn't stolen, the investigators rejected the version of a robbery.
As the examination further revealed, Dasha hadn't been raped either. The motive for the murder still remains unknown. Who and why took the life of the young woman? Now your son's spirit is mentioning a secret. The secret connects Stas and Dasha.
He knew her, and he saw her when she was alive.
I can't tell it.
Wait. Stas's spirit is showing me another young woman. She's also dead. She looks very much like Dasha. Has anybody else been murdered in this town recently?
I don't know.
To find the murderer, we needed to know who the 3rd victim was, and what secret connected Dasha and Stas.
We need to meet Dasha's family. It turned out that Dasha lived some 500 meters from the park where she was murdered.
I am Alexander, Dasha's father.
Give me Dasha's photo, please. Tell me, do you know what could connect Dasha and Stas?
The age gap between them was big enough. He was 13 while she was 21.
It was the Kupala night celebration. There were plenty of people there, and most of them were young, so I assumed that Dasha could meet Stas at the celebration.
When we mentioned that Dasha had been murdered, Stas said, "Mom, I was there." And then he suddenly went silent and didn't say anything else. After that, he tried to avoid this topic.
The card of the victim and the card of the witness. He didn't simply see Dasha at the celebration. He saw her being murdered.
This is shocking. Is it possible that Stas was killed as a witness to the young woman's murder?
When we know who killed Dasha, we will know Stas's murderer. We must go to the site where Dasha was murdered.
It's not far from here.
I hear the voice of another young woman who I'd seen in the same vision as Dasha. She keeps saying, "Find 2 masks. One of them laughs and the other cries." The murderer hides behind them. And now she says, she'll show us the masks. Yana Pasinkova goes to the site of Dasha's murder. Kayal Alekperov goes where his feelings are leading him. We need to turn left and then right. The psychic stops the van next to a building. The masks are supposed to be here, but where are they? The building seems to be in the process of renovation, but what are the masks supposed to be? Excuse me, tell me please, what kind of building is it, and were there any masks in it?
Yes, they were. It's a house of culture.
It's incredible, but we found the photos of the House of Culture before the renovation. There was an old bas-relief of 2 theater masks standing for tragedy and comedy on its facade. We need to go there. The spirit is showing this way. The psychic dives into the shrub. We are scared, but we still go after him. The clairvoyant stops at an abandoned building. Look at the signature here. You will find your death here, if you believe in God. It was written by the murderer. This is his hiding place. It later turned out that this is the building of an abandoned children's summer camp. According to the psychic, Dasha and Stas's murderer visited this place. But why did he do it? And who is he? Meanwhile, Yana Pasinkova reaches the site of Dasha's murder.
A man did this. He's a beast. He knocks her with something he holds in his hand. You can find this thing anywhere. It's something heavy.
A stone?
Blood pours out of her head.
The murderer is connected to occultism. My book says both victims were murdered at big Christian feasts.
Dasha was murdered early on the 7th of July and Stas on the 2nd of August. The 7th of July is the birthday of John the Baptist, and the 2nd of August is the day of a biblical prophet Elijah.
These were ritual murders. It's unbelievable. Does this mean that the maniac is also a religious fanatic? But who is he, and where can he be found? The young woman's spirit is pointing at the 2nd floor. Can we climb there? We held our breath. However, it was impossible to climb to the attic, as there were neither stairs nor a ladder anywhere near. What is this noise? Everyone is seriously scared. We're in the woods, and it's dark. Who's making the noise? Is anybody else also here? Look, a ladder. The woman's spirit gave me the sign to climb there. Put the ladder over here. I felt there was a clue in the attic. The murderer had left there something that could help us identify him.
Did you hurt your leg?
Help me get up. It hurts a lot.
Somebody shoved the ladder. The moment it fell, I saw a sturdy, gray-haired man. He looked like he was burning in flames. I didn't know who he was, but it was he who pushed the ladder to not let me climb in there. I don't feel well. I see terrifying visions of what the murderer saw. This is awful. There are more victims than we think.
Do you mean we're at the maniac's den?
I saw the man make sacrifice to the element of fire. The maniac was burning the clothes of his victims. It was the clue.
I was consulting the cards at the site of Dasha's murder, and I kept getting the card of the person obsessed with the idea of revenge. But who was the target of his revenge, and for what purpose?
I decided not to attempt climbing to the attic anymore, not to put the crew at threat. It would be better if the police searched the place during the day. The woman's spirit is showing me a white cross against a purple background. She says it has all the answers. It's connected with religion. I'll try to draw it. The crew immediately send the picture to the project's detective. It's possible she can find out what the symbol means. Kayal calls his colleague. Yana, these were ritual murders, and the victims are more than 3, and the unknown young woman whose spirit visited me together with the spirits of the boy and Dasha is also his victim. She died first, and the murderer has been punished for it. He started his bloody path about 20 or 25 years ago. Yana, I'm sorry, I've got another call. Don't hang up.
What you drew is the symbol of Seventh-day Adventists.
Is there church anywhere in the town?
Yes, I found the address.
Thank you. The clairvoyants arrive at the address, but the door is locked. I feel the murderer's energy in this building. He used to live here. He's a stranger in your town. He was invited by somebody who frequently visits this place, and the Unonyung woman, the first victim, she wasn't local either. She was from a different region.
Nobody knows.
The murderer is obsessed with fire. He burned something all the time. And if he didn't burn the clothes of his victims, he hid them in his den. We can't even imagine how many lives the beast has taken away. I've just had a vision of another dead boy. He was local, he had dark hair, and was of the same age as Stas.
This is the 12-year-old Ilya Makarov. The boy used to live not far from the church, with which, according to the clairvoyants, the murderer is connected. Ilya Makarov disappeared on the 22nd of May, 2016.
It's unbelievable, but the 22nd of May is another Christian feast, Nicholas the Wonder Worker's Day. But why is he killing children and teenagers on Christian feasts? Who doesn't like Christians? Pagans. And then I realized that the sturdy gray-haired man in the flames who prevented me from climbing to the den's attic was one of the pagan gods. The pagans believed Dazbog and Svarog to be the most powerful among their gods. They are the gods of the sun and celestial fire. These gods don't want us to stop the murderer because the maniac makes sacrifices to honor them.
He won't stop killing.
I found the contact information of the pastor. He must know all his parishioners.
The murderer is a man of the average height. He's short-haired and his hairline is receding. His name starts with B or V. When Katerina described the man we were looking for, the pastor recalled a man named Volodymyr.
How did you meet Volodymyr?
I pay visits to the penal colony, where I give services and bring people the word of God. Volodymyr was among the inmates.
Serhiy says that Volodymyr was imprisoned for a murder.
Who did he murder?
It was his third sentence. Volodymyr killed a girl, a university student.
The man's 2 previous sentences were for a robbery and an arson, and the third time he went to prison for the murder of a university student from other town. Her name was Ruslana. The beast broke her head, just like he did with Stas and Dasha.
At that moment, I thought it was the young woman Kyle Alekperov constantly mentioned.
In total, Volodymyr spent 25 years of his life in prison, and he was released recently.
How come Volodymyr settled to live in your church after the release?
I asked the church's elders if he could stay and guard the building. They gave their permission. And so he settled here.
Serhiy confesses that after the release, Volodymyr changed dramatically. He was cheerful and calm in prison, but once he was free, his behavior became strange.
Then we began seeing bonfires over the fence. Somebody was burning some bed sheets and clothes, and the smoke was acrid. And then we realized it was he. I had never met anybody like him before. He believes in Dazbog. You know, all this paganism and idol worshipping. In the past, people used to worship Dazbog and make sacrifices to him.
Serhiy says that Volodymyr was a fanatical pagan, and he even preached his faith in the Seventh-day Adventists church. As a result, he was eventually expelled.
Did he live in the town?
There's an abandoned building in the city where homeless people hang out. He was there.
It looks like it could be the place that Kayal Alekperov found.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We didn't even think to connect all those murders.
Later, the investigators found Volodymyr's belongings in the attic of the abandoned building found by Kayal Alekperov. They also found the clothes of Dasha, Stas, and Ilya Makarov. In the maniac's den, the investigators also found a calendar in which Volodymyr marked several dates. These were the days when the victims disappeared. The maniac was arrested.
After the investigation by the psychics, the prosecutor's office of this region expressed gratitude to our project. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more impressive investigations are coming up. Impressive. A children's doctor has been found dead and drained of blood right in his office. Who and why murdered the man who saved other people's lives so brutally? Don't miss out. The doctor's ghost will come back to reveal the truth. Irina Leshko, an inconsolable Ukrainian mother who lost her only son, Ivan, approached the psychics.
My dear boy, my child died in terrible pain for nothing.
Irina is now a housewife, but she used to be a speech therapist. She always dreamed that her son, Ivan, would be a pediatrician.
He always wanted to help people and treat children.
The 25-year-old Ivan had only recently graduated from the university and was appointed the head of the health center in a village a few hundred kilometers away from his home. However, just several days after that, the young man was found dead in his office. Moreover, he was completely undressed and had 12 deep wounds on his body.
His arms and groin were ripped badly, but the worst thing is the 11-centimeter-long cut on his neck.
He was so happy when he was going to work, but we received him back in a coffin too soon.
The murderer left no fingerprints nor any biological traces at the site of the murder. The only thing the police are certain about is that there were 3 different murder weapons.
Scissors, a razor blade, and a knife, all covered in blood, were found next to Ivan's body. All of them were used to slash his body.
Over 80 people have been interrogated. Also, we carried out over a dozen forensic investigations, but not a single version has been confirmed. As such, the investigation has come up against a dead end.
The young manager planned a meeting with all his colleagues and patients at 8 in the morning that day. Almost all the village gathered in front of the health center.
There were mothers and their children because he wanted to meet all of them.
However, the doctor didn't show up, and the health center was locked.
When we phoned him, he didn't answer.
After they spent almost an hour at the door, people began to worry and peek into the first-floor windows.
And then our driver grabbed his head and shouted out, "There he is, all bloodied." We were all shocked, but somebody had enough sense to call the police.
When police officers arrived, they broke down the door and froze in terror from what they saw.
The blood was all over the walls. The reason for the death was the wound on the victim's neck, which caused massive bleeding. The victim died between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. the previous day.
The health center staff claimed that Ivan stayed alone at work after 4 p.m. The investigation got stalled. The shocking facts don't seem to match. The naked man, tortured to death, with his head almost severed, in his office in the tightly locked building.
The investigators found the key to the pediatrics department in Ivan's office. However, the door of the department was locked from the inside. Therefore, nobody knows how the murderer or murderers entered.
I beg the psychics, the people with supernatural abilities, especially Kayal Alekperov and Olena Kurilova, to help us find the murderer.
Olena Kurilova and Kayal Alekperov are working on a different investigation. Nevertheless, considering the complexity of the case, they decided to work with Ivan's photo while they're traveling.
I see a cabinet with a mirror in the corner of a room and a couch opposite it. And there's a large brown desk in the middle of the room. His spirit is waiting for someone there.
It's hard to believe, but being almost 600 kilometers away from the site, the psychic gives an accurate description of the office in which the young doctor worked and where he was found dead.
He's trying to say something. I'll be there until she knows everything.
She? Does this indicate that a woman was involved in the young man's death?
It's weird, because his spirit is telling me, find the diary. It bears the secret of my death.
The clairvoyants shared their experiences with their colleagues, who also undertook the investigation of the young pediatrician, Yaroslava Fedorova and Larisa Utsanu.
This man's death is connected with a present he received not long before he died. Freezing cold emanates from the present.
I see him with his hands and feet tied. It seems he was tied before he was murdered.
The victim's parents, Irina and Zinovie, as well as the locals and the police, are waiting for the psychics in front of the health center.
My only son was tortured to death in this building. We hope you can help us.
I see blood everywhere.
Ivan's blood was found in the bathroom, the lobby, and his office.
All his belongings were in blood. Over there, that's where the torture began.
Judging by the bloody footprints, the murderer attacked Ivan in the lobby. This is where the first cuts were made. The trace of blood shows that Ivan ran to the bathroom, evidently trying to hide from the attacker. After that, he tried to lock himself in his office, where he was eventually murdered.
But if it's really what happened, then how did the murderer leave the building? The door of the department was locked from the inside, and the key was found in the office.
Something changed here. I feel the windows opened differently.
Yes.
Do you mean the windows weren't plastic? What kind of windows were they?
They were wooden.
The window didn't close.
The office is on the first floor, so it wouldn't be hard for the murderers to climb in and out of the building discreetly through the window.
Nevertheless, the investigators didn't find any fingerprints on the window frames in the doctor's office.
We could assume the murderer or murderers wore gloves.
I see struggle. I need to get out. I hear shouting, angry shouting.
It's a scandal.
I have a clear feeling that there is a woman involved in this, and that she is directly connected to the thing that happened to the young man.
His arms are slashed, his flesh is ripped, the wounds are very strange.
The forensics concluded that the first cuts were made on his arms. The longitudinal cuts were made with the scissors, while the transverse cuts were made with the blade. The cuts in the groin were also made with the blade. The lethal wound in the neck was made with the knife.
I hear phone calls and threats.
I feel two people behind the wall. One of them entered and exited.
There, where the clairvoyant is pointing, is the emergency department. It's right behind the wall from the office where Ivan's body was found.
Were you inside the building when it happened?
The ambulance was called, and so we left. It was 4 or almost 4 when we left.
According to the investigators, the ambulance crew returned at about midnight. The forensic examination concluded that the manager of the health center was dead by that time.
We didn't hear all the facts. When he came here, He began changing everything here.
Yes.
He said, "I'm in charge here, so give me this and that."
He took all the keys?
Yes.
The employees of the health center said they treated Yvonne with caution, as if he interrupted the order of things they were used to.
He experienced pressure, you see. First it was moral pressure and then physical.
I have a vision of two people.
These two are involved in Yvonne's death.
Were you in charge here?
As a head nurse, I did the work of a medical attendant.
The health center had no manager for a year, so this woman, Nadia, was the acting manager. But everything changed after the young doctor arrived.
I feel a conflict.
Could these people hate the victim?
He irritated them.
We anticipated a head doctor because it was too hard to work without the head doctor.
You're lying because he told me. They told me to sit in my office and never interfere with their business.
The victim's mother is certain it all started after. On her advice, her son began checking how his employees did their work.
He gathered everyone for a meeting in the morning and asked them to prepare all the papers on the center's property and financial activities. Somebody didn't like it a lot.
I had the same vision as when we'd worked with the photo. It looked like Yvonne was tied before he died, and it was done by a woman. Only later did I realize what the thing that tied him was.
The woman again. Could it be the head nurse Nadia? But the investigators didn't find any ropes on the young doctor's body.
Tell me, please, are you related?
We are sisters.
This is Lubov, Nadia's sister. She also works in the center as a nurse. After Yvonne was appointed as the head doctor, she became his assistant.
To protect each other, you are ready to rip anybody's throat and make their life impossible. You were here, and you were the last to see him alive.
It was at about 3:20. We returned after a call. I told him I was going home and he went to his office.
Olena, those two who are connected with Yvonne's death, I see them more clearly now. These are a man and a woman.
The women didn't lie, and they really went home while Yvonne was still alive.
But who are the couple involved in the doctor's death that the clairvoyants see? And what are the health center employees trying to conceal?
I see people who, roam, stumbling.
There were 3 guys hanging out not far from the health center all the time. I even saw them peek into the windows.
They're intoxicated. They seem to be on drugs, not knowing where they are.
Those people, who are either alcoholics or addicts, can be often here.
I feel the presence of Yvonne's spirit. He told me the secret is in the diary. What kind of diary could it be? It contains some personal notes.
Here it is. It's his notebook.
It's a notebook. It's not a diary.
And there's almost nothing in it. Sinicode, Libexin. These are medicines that contain small doses of the substance that drug addicts use.
Hold on. He was the manager of the center. Do you have dangerous drugs that have a narcotic effect?
The emergency service has them.
Sometimes, doctors who have access to narcotic drugs may sell them to drug addicts.
The young man's diary is green. We need it. It contains the truth.
But the notebook the clairvoyants are holding is red, while the one the detective has is white. Is there another notebook?
I see his spirit walking there. Let's go there quickly.
The clairvoyants decide to come back to the site where Ivan's body was found. But Larisa Hutsanu suddenly feels sick.
My God, he experienced such pain. I can't look at it.
Larisa, bring water. Larisa.
I felt somebody put cold hands on my shoulders. It was Yvonne. He was pushing me toward his mother.
Oh God. I need to do a ritual so all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Can you turn off the light? Now you can turn it on. I see that day. He stayed alone. There's nobody else here. He's all alone. He was sitting here, and his soul was weeping. He understood it was the end of his life.
His spirit tells me, open the book, and I'll show you what I wrote in my diary before I died. It's something about children.
He's showing me a green notebook, and you're giving me a red notebook.
So what?
It contains the truth.
We eventually managed to find Yvonne's diary, which the psychics mentioned. It was green, and it contained a note. Give all my belongings to friends and children. It looks like a note left by someone who knew for sure that he would die.
This is incredible. Was Yvonne maybe being threatened? Did he know he would be murdered? Was this the reason he left the note? But why is his mother hiding it?
God, Kayal. I'm even afraid to say it out loud. The cards are showing me he committed suicide.
My God! But how did he do it?
What the psychics are saying is terrifying. Suicide. The slit arms and groin, and the neck almost cut through. How could he do this to himself? With scissors, a knife, and a blade.
You are Satanists. You cut him up and sacrificed him.
What Satanists?
You are Satanists.
Are you trying to say I murdered him?
Then who else?
Do you mean I murdered your son?
Who else could do this?
Why are you saying this?
Stop it.
The innocent soul was sacrificed.
Did you give him the knife?
We found later that, not long before Yvonne's death, Irina had bought him a kitchen knife for his household needs. It was the knife with which Yvonne's throat was sliced.
What impressed me most was the resentment Yvonne felt. The resentment was toward his mother. This and anger. She tied me. He's showing me. But it's not a rope. This is something sticky and slimy. It's an umbilical cord. It's an energetic cord that connects him to his mother. He says she strangled him with it and sucked all his blood out of him.
What is that supposed to mean? That I killed him?
She's calling everyone, all the employees. She can even call at night, shouting, "I wish you all and your children death. We fear her."
People are tired of her threats on the phone and face-to-face.
May God punish you hard. May your children and grandchildren and their children commit suicide.
Look! You made your son feel that way.
What are you talking about?
Yvonne's spirit is telling me my mother made my life impossible. And my father simply turned his back and said nothing. This is so astonishing.
The truth was that Yvonne's mother never allowed him to go anywhere freely. She would always call him, and she would even come to visit him at the university and dormitory.
She bothered everybody with her calls. She said something that wasn't true. She claimed we hurt him, but nobody ever hurt him. She also said about some girls that he took to different places, spending all his money on them. But he never took anybody anywhere. His mom was around him all the time.
We consulted a psychiatric professional to see if the mother's erratic behavior was really to blame for the harrowing death of her son.
This is a case of a mother's overwhelming dictate. His mother dominated him. This type of matriarchy may result in the distortion of an individual's personality.
Occasionally, he turned off his phone, and I had to ask him to turn it on because his mom would be calling everyone else, bothering us.
When could I be bothering him? When?
All the time.
Never. I never did anything bad to him.
Once he was going somewhere, but she didn't let him, claiming he would be killed there. She forbade him to go.
Parents who are too protective of their kids can make them too dependent. Suicide rates among such dependent young people are quite high.
I have a vision. Ivan sits in the office that you, Olena, and I saw. His mother is next to him, and he's shouting at her, asking her to leave him alone.
Did you arrive here with your son?
Yes, I did arrive here with him. I wanted to see the village and see what household problems needed attention, like if I needed to buy him new curtains or something.
But you and him quarreled.
No, we didn't quarrel. Are you kidding me?
Tell us the truth.
When he woke up in the morning, he said, "Mom, you must leave."
Ivan felt anger towards his mother. He wished to be away from her. He would say, "What am I supposed to do? Kill her? Should I shoot her or what?" He only saw two options, either to kill himself or her. Ivan never considered anything else.
His mother decided he would be a doctor, and she didn't allow him to date girls. She lived his life for him, and he understood he would never live a life of his own, but the life she wanted him to live.
Felt like she kept him tied to herself.
A phone conversation. He spoke to somebody before he died.
Did he talk to you?
No, he didn't.
His mother was the only person who ever called Ivan Leshko.
When somebody kills themselves, they usually try to do it as soon as possible. But he killed himself in an unusual and unexpected way. He even gathered all his employees so they would find his body. It was an attempt to prove something, convince someone, and demonstrate his position.
This is beyond my comprehension. The mother's fanatical devotion to her son made the young man do such an awful thing.
We are grateful to the team of the psychics for pointing out the fine details which helped us make the only right and lawful decision possible in this particular case.
If you're shocked by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more unbelievable investigations by the psychics re-waiting.